Okay, guys, so in this class, I want us to check how can we solve algebraic equations. Okay, when dealing with algebraic equations, it is very, very important that you understand the basics of how to solve any typical equation. So in our syllabus, you're going to have typical questions like maybe solve for x, where we are given something like 5x. Maybe this is equivalent to 15. All right. Or let us just say this is equivalent. All right, a 15 like what we have. You are given to solve for x. How do we solve an equation? This is different from a simplification. To simplify, you just like a normal expression. This is 3x maybe plus 2 into x plus 5. There is no x that you're finding. You are just expanding your brackets. You simplify it together, collect the like terms that way that you used in your simplification. This is a different scenario. You add your terms like this. You are not finding the value of x. You are not giving out to say x is equal to a certain value. No. It is just an answer that you 5x plus 10. There we do not know or we do not have the value of x. It's an expression that you have, or maybe it's a term that you're having, which is different from solving for x. To solve an equation now is to determine the value of x. What is this x? We need a number that when you put it here, that number, if you put that number here, you substitute that number, you're going to get a 15. Maybe you're given x minus 2 is equal to 5. We need a number that we put here, we are going to get a 5. Let's say I have got a 7. 7 minus 2 is a 5. So it means this x is a 7. The x that satisfies this equation to get a 5 must be a 7. But I'm supposed to solve. I'm supposed not to do like a guesswork. No, I'm supposed to solve. So how do I solve? That's the question. So in actual sense, you are supposed to remove the numbers that do not have x. Where there is x, you remove these terms that do not have x. All right. Any number that do not have x. Here we do not have x. So we can transpose this, or we can take this to the other side of the equation. But take note, once a number or a term, whatever, crosses the equal sign, it changes its sign. So meaning to say, this is 5x that you're going to have at the end. All right, let me just have this one. 5x, which is equal to. Already there was a 15 on the right-hand side. So the moment that I transpose the positive 4 to this side, it was a positive. So the moment I transpose it to this side, it becomes a negative 4. So once a number crosses the sign, it changes its sign. So this will be a negative 4. So I'm just going to write it like this. It was a positive 4. Now it's going to be a negative 4. So that means 5x will be equal to 15 minus a 4. 15 minus a 4 you're subtracting. That is going to give you 11. So in this case, you need x, not 5x. So this one is a product. You do not transpose. This is different from 5 plus x is equal to 11. When it is like this, I can transpose 5 to the other side. It becomes a negative 5. But this is 5x. 5x means 5 times x times. You are multiplying. So how do you remove the multiplication? You divide by that x. You divide by that number, to have the value of x. So therefore, our x is going to be 11 over 5. That's how you solve an equation, a linear equation. So this is called a linear equation. So if we are to check this, to prove this, if we are to take the part of the proof that you're going to have, we take the value of x, which is 11 over 5, and substitute here. It means we have got 5 into x. Our x is 11 over 5. If we multiply these 5 and 11 over 5 and we add a 4, we must get 15. Is that so? That is the question. So if you multiply it by 5, you add this, you're going to get a 15. Let's see. So this one is a proof. You can just save it on your calculator. 5 open a bracket, 11 over 5 like this. So this is 11 over 5 plus a 4. So this is going to give us a 15, exactly the number that we have on the right-hand side. That is to mean the x that you're having there is correct. With this knowledge, you are going to solve typical equations like what we have on this exercise. Solve the following equations, that is what you're given, by adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing both sides of the equation by a constant. What are they trying to say? If you are given this, this one is it's like the traditional method of your solving part. The traditional method, you're supposed to have it this way. If there is a -8 like this, to remove -8 here, which is our constant, we add, it's a -8. So you do the opposite of that -8, which is a +8. So you also add 8 here. So meaning to say, this is going to give us 2x -8 plus 8, that's a 0. So meaning so you have removed 8 here, there's no longer 8. So this is equal to 12 plus 8, 12 plus 8, which is a 20. So now we can divide by 2. Since this is a multiplication, like I said, you divide to have the value of x. So this is going to give us a 10. So this is the normal sense that you're supposed to have. But instead of doing this, we can have it in a shorter way. 2x minus 8 is equal to 12. Because I know that I do not have x and I do not need this on this side of the equation. I must remove this. So I transpose it, or I take it to the other side of the equation. The moment I do this, it changes its sign. It was a positive. So 2x will be equal to 12 plus 8. Thus 2x is equal to 20. Then divide by 2, just like the previous case, our x will be a 10. Simple like that. So as you can see, guys, that's how simple these equations are. So if you're given this, you're going to solve as much equations. I want you to try as much questions. I'm not going to do all these questions, just you to see how you're supposed to have this. Then try as much questions as you can. So from this part, 4x plus 6 is equal to 18. What is it that is affecting here? It's a plus 6. So I'm going to subtract that 6. Opposite of a plus, that's a minus. What I've done here, I'm also supposed to do it on the right-hand side. That's an equation. So 6 minus 6, that's a 0. You have eliminated, you have removed the 6. So you're just left with 4x, which will be equal to, you subtract 18 minus a 6, and that is going to give us a 12. So dividing by 4, the number that is multiplying, you divide by it. You do not subtract the other way, no, you divide. So this one is going to give us a 3. So when there is a multiplication, you divide. So that's the condition there. So with these values of x, you can even prove and see that exactly they give us the answers that you're given there. All right, so like I said, I'm not going to work out everything. Let me take number 5. This is equal to a -10. So on this question, we are asked to solve for x. So to solve for x, simply there's a +5. So what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to subtract a 5. So to subtract a 5, it means also here I subtract a 5. It's a plus, so a minus. So that's minus 3x. 5 minus 5, it is cancelled. That's a constant. That's a 0 there. So you focus only on the constant. So this is equal to -10 minus 5, which is -15. Divide by -3, divide by -3, both sides. This is going to give us a +5. So you can also just use your calculator there. You are going to have a +5. If you substitute this value of x, you are going to see that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So this is how you're going to be working out these questions, even if you consider number 6, -4x minus 5 is equal to -13. Solve for x. So what am I going to do? I'm simply going to transpose this to the other side. So that means I'm having -4x, which is equal to -13 plus a 5. It was a negative. On the other hand, it will be a positive. So that's -4x is equal to, you add on your calculator, that is going to be -13 plus a 5, which is -8. or you can just do this, guys, on your calculator. Let me just show you this part. I hope you are used to your calculator. So just subtract. This is minus 13, the minus here, minus 13 plus a 5, plus a 5. So that's minus 8, all right? So you divide by -4 by -4 both sides to obtain the x value. So minus 8, if you divide this by a -4 like this, you're going to obtain a +2. So this is the value of x, which satisfies our equation. So if we are to take this value of x, substitute it on the left-hand side where we have x, we are going to see that it gives us exactly the right-hand side where x is 2. So it's -4 times x, which is 2 minus 5. If we simplify this, we must get minus 18. So this is minus times 2, minus 4 times 2, which is minus 8 minus 5. Minus 8 minus 5, that is minus 13, which is exactly what you are having on the right-hand side. So this is just a proof that you are having to see if truly the value of x or whatever value that you're having there is exactly the value that satisfies the equation. So these are the typical questions that you might have in your examination. Consider if you check number 11, where we are given on number 11, 7 minus x is equal to 3. So I simply have to remove the 7 here. It's a +7. So if I transpose it to the other side of the equation, it will be a -7. So that means on this end, I'm going to have a -7. So that means I'm going to have minus x is equal to 3 minus 7. And 3 minus 7 is going to give us what? Minus x is 3 minus 7, which is minus 4 on your calculator. This is same as minus 1x. Whenever the number is not given, there's a 1. But because there's a minus, so it will be -1. So you divide by a -1 to remove that -1. So this is going to give us a +4. That's it. So if x is 4, even if you substitute here 7 minus 4, that's a 3. Meaning to say this is true. So it cannot be just for x. It can be for any letter that you're given, whether it's the letter P, like what we're given on number 13, where we are given 27 is equal to 3 minus 2p. It's still one and the same thing. In order for us to solve, you're supposed to find the value of p. What is the unknown value? That unknown value p, what is it representing? So if you are to transpose the 3 to the other side, it's going to be a negative. It was a positive this side, so it will be a negative on the other side. 27 minus 3 is equal to minus 2p. The minus there on 2 is the p, The p carries the minus 2. 27 minus 3, that is going to give us what? 24. So that's 24 is equal to minus 2p. To find p, simply divide by -2 both sides, just like the previous case. 24 divided by -2, that's a minus 12. So therefore, our p is going to be a minus 12. Just like that. So equations, they differ. Sometimes you can be given fractions like questions of number 20, number 19, 21, where fractions are given. But these ones, they are different from, or let's consider number 90, which is the same as number 20, 21. So if there's any question that you see there, you're having a challenge, let us communicate on the comment section so that we can be able to redo that question together. But if you check this one, it was just a matter of transposing the -2 to the other side of the equation so that it becomes a positive. So that'll be the half of x is going to be the 5 plus 2. It was a -2 on this side, it will be a plus. So the half of x is going to be 5 plus 2, which is a 7. So how do I remove this x? It's a fraction that I'm having. So I'm supposed to divide like what I did. I'm supposed to divide by 1/2 like this, by 1/2. You can get the answer if you do this. So meaning to say x is going to be, if you divide, I want you to see something there. I'm going to talk about another way. Don't worry about this. So this is 7 over 1/2. So you're going to open a bracket, 1/2 like this. Move this, then you close that bracket. That is going to be 14. So x there is a 14. We could have calculated the same value of x at this stage by just doing this. We were at this stage here, where we are given the half of x being equal to 7. So it follows that this is same as 7 over 1. So to clear fractions, you have to multiply each and every term by the LCD. Multiply by the LCD each term. Each and every term that you're given. So the LCD there, you consider the denominators 1 and 2 or 2 and 1. LCD is 2. So I multiply this side by 2. I also multiply this side by 2. That is the LCD. So this will cancel. That's a 1. So meaning to say I'm left with 1 times x, which is equal to 7 times 2. That's a 14. So that is how I could have calculated the same value of x. Either way, I'm going to have the same answer. As long as you understand what you're doing there. So if I'm to substitute this value of x here, I'm just going to do this on the calculator straightforward so that you see we must get a positive 5 on that case if we substitute this. All right, so this is half x, which is 1 over 2 of x, open a bracket. X is 14, so that's 14. Then you subtract a 2. So this must give us a 5. If truly this x is true, we must have a positive 5, which is exactly what we are having on that part. So these are your typical questions that you're supposed to consider, which is a little bit different from the question that you might see on question number 22 there. On question number 22, we are given that 6 is equal to x over 6 minus 2. Yes, I can just transpose the constant, which is 2. It's not affecting this. So I transpose to the other side. It becomes a positive. 6 plus 2 is equal to x over 6. So meaning to say that on this side, I will be left with what? 6 plus 2, which is 8, which is equal to x over 6. So using the cross multiplication or that part of considering the LCD, this 8 is same as 8 over 1. So the LCD of 1 and 6 is what? It's a 6. So I multiply this side by 6, multiply this side by 6. This cancels. I'm going to have x, which is equal to 6 times 8, which is 48. So therefore, from this part, we can see that x is equal to 48. That's to solve for x. To solve for x. To solve for any equation that you're given, not just for x, but for any equation. What about number 24? It's a little bit confusing. 12 over x is equal to minus 3. All right, minus 3 is same as minus 3 over 1. So still you can consider the part of clearing of the fractions by the LCD. What is the LCD of x and 1? So that's x. LCD of 1 and x, the LCM. So that's x, you multiply by x here, you multiply by x here. So this will cancel. So you're left with 1 times 12, which is 12 is equal to negative 3 times x, which is negative 3x. Remember, what we need is x. So you remove what is affecting x, which is negative 3, and how it is multiplying. So we divide by it so that we remain with the x. So 12 divided by negative 3, that's a negative 4. So therefore, our x is going to be a negative 4, which we could have just applied the cross multiplication on this stage. We could have just cross multiplied. So cross multiplication, it allows us to multiply this denominator to the numerator of this fraction, this denominator to the numerator of this fraction. That is cross multiplication. So you can cross multiply. That's another way, cross multiply. So it means 1 is going to multiply 12. That's 1 times 12, which is 12. And this is equal to x times a negative 3, which is negative 3x. That's cross multiplication. So as you can see, we're back to this stage. 12 is equal to minus 3, which is same. Divide by negative 3, divide by negative 3, we have got the value of x. So x is going to be what? 12 divided by negative 3, that's a negative 4. Just like that. Solve the following equations and check your answers. So there they need you to automatically check your answers after solving. We are given different expressions to consider. On number 1, 5x plus 5 is equal to 4x plus 9. That's an equation that you're given, where now we can see there's another x, there's another x, there is x that is on this side. There is also x on this side. So what we need is to have x. So these x's that we have should be collected to one side of the equation. So you have to collect what you refer to as the like terms. The terms of x to one side of the equation, the variables, I mean, to one side, the constants to one side of the equation. So the variables are the part that is got x. That is the part of x, one side of the equation, the part of the constants on the other side of the equation. So if we were to do this, we're going to take the 4x to this side of the equation. It becomes a negative. So that is 5x minus 4x is equal to, that means I'm going to transpose or to take the 5, this one to the other side of the, because I do not need this on this side. I need the part of x only x. So what does not, the part that does not have x transpose to the other side of the equation. So this is going to be 9. 5 on this side is going to be a minus. So it will be minus 5. So let's subtract 5 minus 4. This is 1x. 1x is equal to a 4. 1x is same as x. So it means x is equal to 4. So we are asked to also check these answers. That is to prove that this is true for the values of x, for the value of x that we are given. If I substitute this value of x on the left-hand side, I must get exactly what is on the right-hand side. So on the left-hand side, we are given that this is 5x, which is 5 into our x, which is 4, plus a 5. We must get exactly what is on the right-hand side, which is 4 into x, and our x there is what is 4, and whatever that you get, we add a 9. 5 times 4, that's 20, and 20 plus 5, that is 25. This is equal to 4 times 4, that's 16, 16 plus 5, that is 25. So as we can see that the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. The left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. That means truly our x is correct. But if now you substitute and you see the left-hand side and the right-hand side are not equal, it's either on your substitution, you made a wrong substitution, or the value of x is wrong. So you check one from the substitution to see if your substitution is correct. Then number 2, you check your answer. If you see that your substitution is true, then you check the answers. So I want you to try number 2. I'm going to try number 3 with you. On number 3, we are given again to solve 7 minus 3m is equal to 5 minus 2m. So still the same concept, just like the previous case. What are we solving for? For m. The unknown, there is m. So taking the terms of m to one side of the equation, so it's either I'm going to leave this part here of m on the left-hand side, this one, minus 3m. So it means I'm going to transpose the other part of m on the other side of the equation. So already I was having a minus 3m on the left-hand side. So if I transpose the minus 2m to this side, it becomes a positive 2m. It was a negative. Remember, anything that crosses the equal sign, it becomes a positive, as long as it crosses the equal sign. So this is equal to a 5 already, which is on the right-hand side, and we have to transpose the 7 to the other side of the equation. It's a positive, transpose to the other side of the equation, it becomes a negative 7. That's it. So the algebraic part there is the one that you're considering. The rest there is just your normal simplification, minus 3 plus 2. These are like terms. So you can even use your calculator if you do not understand this. Minus 3 plus 2, that is minus 1. So meaning to say I'm having minus 1m, which is equal to 5 minus 7, which is minus 2. So you can simply subtract 5 minus a 7, that's a negative 2. So to find m, I'm going to divide by negative 1. By negative 1, so that's m is going to be what? Negative 2. If I divide this by a negative 1, it is going to give us a positive 2. So this is the value of m, which satisfies our equation. And with this value of m, since we are asked to check our solutions, we are going to verify if this is correct. We have to check, is it correct? So we are given on the left-hand side, thus we are given 7 minus 3m. So this is 7 minus 3 times m. Remember the m that we got is a 2. This must be equal to the left-hand side, which is 5 minus 2 into m, which is a 2. All right, so this is 7 minus 3 times 2, which is 6, is equal to 5 minus 2 times 2, which is a 4. 7 minus 6, that's a 1, is equal to a 1. So as we can see that truly the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. So that means the value of m is correct. That is how you can check your solutions if they are correct. So these are the typical questions that you are supposed to expect even in your exam. More questions to come like this from Meson African Motives till we meet again.